Hey everybody, welcome to Political Fight Club. I'm your host Robert Durden. This episode is some good news. I read this morning that a new poll came out, and I forget exactly where it's from here, but Nina Turner, who is running for the seat in Ohio's District 11, is one of my favorite candidates. I've been touting her since day one of this show, and I've been a huge fan of her for years. She was the co-chair of Bernie Sanders' campaign. And she was previously a senator in Ohio. She's got all the right policies, and I think she's the right person to possibly even run for president and adopt Bernie's mantle in 2024. She has a commanding lead in the new poll that just came out. So she's running against a couple other people in the Democratic primary, and I think the voting is in August 3rd. And so the numbers that came out this morning is that she has 50% of the voters on her side, with the next closest person being Shontel Brown, has 15%. So for all you mathematicians out there, it means that Shontel Brown could double her current percentage. Like, let's say that something like with what happened with Bernie Sanders happened, where like all the other people dropped out and every single person that they had following them and giving them their support all went to Shontel Brown. She still wouldn't even have half the support that Nina Turner did. She could double her support and still have all the people drop out and all go to Shontel Brown, and still Nina Turner would be in the lead. So this is very good news. I've said multiple times on the show that I thought that it would be more or less a cakewalk for Nina, knock on wood. So it looks pretty good for Nina Turner here. I thought it was going to be pretty easy. Now, I have a little bit of a different take on this than some of the other people that have been talking about this morning, where they say that this is nothing but good news. Yes and no. It's more nuanced than that. What I fear is going to happen is that Nina Turner is going to go in there and she might actually fight and might actually unite the squad, get them to start voting as a block. And I've said that if she just does that, simply that, just unites the squad in a way where they can start voting as a block, and like she conks their coconut heads together and gets them to actually work as a team, that will be by itself enough for us to nominate her and get her in Congress. That by itself would be worth it. But it looks likelier and likelier that the Democrats are going to get wiped out in the House in the midterms. And I would say it's very likely at this point, with how anemic Joe Biden's presidency has been. It's likely that they're trying to lose their majority in the House. And like I said, guys, if Nina goes in there and rallies the squad to vote as a block, but the Democrats lose the House, it doesn't matter. They can vote as a block all they want. So what will end up happening, unfortunately, and I hope I'm wrong, is that she'll go in there, conk their heads together, and the squad at that point will be more than happy to virtue signal via voting as a block, meaning they know that they're going to lose. They know that they don't have anything that they can actually affect change with, even as voting as a block, if they lose the majority. So they'll just start fighting and putting out the rhetoric that they used to, that is fiery rhetoric, that's pro-Medicare for all and all the right things, free public college, all the things they used to go after, a Green New Deal. They will pretend that they're fighting for those things, and they'll vote correct because they know that even they can vote correct and it won't actually get anything passed anyways. They won't have the numbers to actually get anything passed, so they'll just start virtue signaling like motherfuckers, and then what we'll have is Nina Turner going in there and uniting the virtue signal squad, which does no good for anybody. So that's what I worry is going to happen. I think that's the likeliest scenario, and a lot of people on the left are going to just, they'll take that virtue signaling hook, line, and sinker and go, hey look, Nina Turner went in there and she united the squad, isn't that great? Isn't that great? Progressives are fighting again. Because they don't know enough about politics to know that if you don't have a chance at actually affecting progressive change and you happen to be the squad, which is, they're spineless as all hell, and they don't actually care about these progressive issues. If they did, they'd be fighting for them now when they could actually affect change on them. They'll start virtue signaling like crazy, and people will fall for it like they've actually turned over a new leaf when they haven't. It's just the numbers have shifted in such a way where they can vote their conscience and still not affect change, which the people that own them, the Democratic elites, the higher-ups in the party that have been basically like have them whipped and trained right now, they don't care how they vote. They can virtue signal all they want so long as the neoliberals and the conservatives can get their agenda done. The elites can get their agenda done. So what I worry is going to happen is there's going to be a boatload of virtue signaling when Nina Turner gets in there, and a lot of people are going to fall for the facade that the squad has actually turned over a new leaf and that Nina Turner was the catalyst in that change. So I don't want to poo-poo this. It needs to be done. Nina still needs to be in there, and we need to get as many progressive Congress people in there as we can. But if we lose the House, effectively it doesn't matter. Everything that they do after that, it'll just be, it'll be rhetorically correct, but ineffectual in every single way possible. Not 99% ineffectual, 100% ineffectual. The other thing I'd like to say is I wrote Nina Turner a letter the day that Bernie Sanders dropped out, and I begged her to do something in the next 4 years so that she could run for president in 2024, because I think she has as good a chance as anyone, if not the best chance, of inheriting the Sanders swarm. And she's got the right credentials. She's got the right rhetoric. She's fiery. She's a fighter. So even if it turns out I'm right on all this other stuff where she goes in there and she gets the squad to at least rhetorically start fighting for things again, even if it gets nothing else done, it'll still be good for her to bolster her rhetoric and her credentials and use this Congress win in 2 years in Congress as a springboard for running for president. That is the best we can hope for, I think. If I thought that we were going to keep the House, I'd be way more excited about this. Way more. If I thought that Joe Biden was going to do one thing, if he just did one campaign promise, if he followed through on a public option or a $15 minimum wage, or lowering the Medicare eligibility age to 60 or 55, if he did any little teeny tiny thing that he promised instead of breaking 100% of his promises, we could probably maintain the House. But he hasn't kept any promises. None. Zero. Not one. So Joe Biden is setting us up for evisceration in the midterms. If that turns out to be the case, it doesn't really matter a whole lot if Nina Turner actually wins and gets to Congress, unless she uses it as a springboard to run for president in 2024. So I hate to burst your bubble, guys. This is good news, but ultimately it's an empty victory if certain things don't happen alongside it. We must maintain the House, and Joe Biden's making that impossible. How are Democrats going to have a chance in hell? I mean, we're in a depression, COVID's still going on, Joe Biden hasn't done dick. Dick. He and Trump are more or less on paper about the same. Like I said Biden's like a D- and Trump's an F. But a D- is not going to inspire people to go vote for more Democrats in the midterms, because people's lives have not been tangibly, materially improved by Joe Biden. And in fact, many things that could tangibly and materially improve people's lives have been blocked by Joe Biden. $15 minimum wage, he blocked it. He didn't let it go through. He wouldn't overrule a parliamentarian. He wouldn't strong-arm Manchin and Sinema. He has not even mentioned lowering the Medicare eligibility age. He hasn't mentioned a public option. He has none of this in his upcoming bill. No steps toward the Green New Deal. No, he's not even really trying to get like e-vehicles implemented as the future. The USPS contract that he vowed would be all e-vehicle companies, he didn't give it to Workhorse, the company that makes all e-vehicles that's stationed in Wisconsin. He gave it to Oshkosh Defenses, a defense contractor that does not make e-vehicles. They make biodiesel hybrids. So he actually tried his best and succeeded at staying away from e-vehicles. So he doesn't give a shit about climate change. He doesn't give a shit about giving people health care. He doesn't give a shit about giving people a living wage. He's not going to give us a UBI. He's not going to do anything that's going to help anybody, and we're going to get killed in 2022. And no offense, but it doesn't really matter even if Nina Turner runs in 2024. If Biden tanks everything so badly over the next 3 years, you're going to get the Trump again. Or Ron DeSantis, which is essentially Trump with, who uses 3-syllable words instead of all 1-syllable words. So, and that might be even worse. So, either it puts the material gain in people's pockets, or else it gets the Trump again, regardless of what Nina Turner does. So, again, guys, this is good news. I don't want to downplay it, but tangibly, it does nothing. It does nothing other than change the rhetoric of AOC and the squad. especially if we lose the House. And I find that to be almost a foregone conclusion at this point. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Nothing would make me happier for Nina Turner to win and for us to maintain the House, and then for her to actually get the squad to vote as a block, and then we'd actually be able to affect change. But I see that being a very unlikely scenario, especially like day by day, Biden is sabotaging that scenario more and more. And I think he's doing it on purpose because it gives the Democratic Party a scapegoat for the second 2 years of his presidency, because they're going to run into a Republican brick wall. They won't get a single Republican vote on anything, and they'll have their excuse for getting nothing done, which is what they really want to do anyway. So they're setting us up for failure, and that also sets Nina Turner up for failure as well. So I guess you can thank a Bidenite today. All those vote blue no matter who people, thank one of them today, because they really did a good job getting the most electable guy in there. He's doing such a not FDR-like job that he's tanking it and setting Trump up or DeSantis up for a slaughter in 2024, and the Democrats getting slaughtered in the midterms in 2022. Thank a Bidenite today. Anyway, keep fighting the good fight out there, guys. I'll talk to you later.